Perfect. Sorry about that. I was making sure everything was good. Camera is good. Microphone can go down a little bit lower. Whatever. We'll leave it as it is. Nah, we'll raise it. How are you guys doing? As you can see, it's a mess. I'm a mess today. But I'm happy to be here. I hope you're all doing well. We got a few things I want to get into today, and I'm just going to kind of leave it more up to what you guys want to talk about for the most part, since we're not doing these every week anymore. I know a lot of people come in and ask a lot of questions, so it's important to me to dedicate a lot of time to that aspect of it. But I did want to comment on, I made people really angry this week. I made people really angry, and I think it's all silly, and it all goes back to something I've been talking about with other people that do YouTube that I am friends with, and negativity, controversy, drama, new gear. That's what people like. There's like 400 comments on that video. I get like 20 on a normal video. It's nonsense. People just like to argue with each other. Good morning, Greg. Morning, Rex. Good morning, Bradford. Morning, Scoot. I'm going to call you Scoot. That cool? Hey, morning, Daniel. Oh, man. It's just... I'll tell you, man. And I said this to somebody that I was disagreeing with in the comment section of that video. He was really angry at Gibson. And he was angry. One of the examples he used was he thought it was ridiculous that Rick Beato couldn't, that he got a signature model from Gibson, right? And that, X guitarist or Y guitarist didn't. And that part of the reason that people hate Gibson so much is because of that stuff, because of how they treat artists. And that kind of made me laugh, because there's two things that immediately jumped to my mind about that. Now, I'm not a huge Rick Beato fan. I don't really watch any guitar YouTubers. I just don't. Anyway. But with that guitar, all the profits for that guitar and the whole launch for it, they went to the Save the Music Foundation. So first of all, the number one reason he got that guitar, well, there's two reasons. That's great PR for them. That's great PR. Second of all, regardless of whether or not you do like Rick or you don't like Rick, the guy has a huge freaking baked-in audience. So if you have people that are on the fence, then you have him, you hear that Gibson and him teamed up, and it's all going to go to a good cause, that paints the company in a better light marketing-wise. And I was like, yeah. I'm like, of course that there are more deserving touring and working musicians that deserve it more than Rick Beato. Could you name a song Rick Beato's ever produced? Me either. But that's not the point. The point is to move inventory. And that's the reason why other companies, they've given TikTokers guitars or basses. And the other thing that it made me think of was, okay, where was this outrage against Fender? And I love Fender. I have more Fenders than any other guitar. They dropped the ball so hard with John Mayer. He jumped ship, a lifelong Strat player, jumped ship from Fender to go to PRS. Because PRS was actually like, yeah, let's work together. Let's work on your ideas. Fender couldn't be asked. And this is from John's own accord. When the rep that he had parted ways with the company, he got a new rep, there was just nothing. There was just didn't work out for him. They weren't receptive to his ideas or anything like that. So PRS, being the opportunist, very smartly, can't imagine how much money this ended up paying dividends-wise for him in the long run here as a company. He's like, I'll do it. I'll listen to you. Let's build exactly what you want. And now, what do you know? What was it? Not last year, but the year before that, the SE Silver Sky was the highest-selling guitar on Reverb, period. So go figure. So it's not just like Gibson are the worst at everything and everyone else is a saint. That's the thing that kind of annoys me about the whole situation, is we can't just objectively look at it all and be like, maybe they're not all great. Maybe they're not all pure evil. They're just corporations, especially once you get to the higher tier production ones. Let's see what's going on. It's a drug. controversy arguing. Oh, I know. I know. I will say this, though. The moment anyone brings up anything political, they're gone at this point. And people will do it with everything. It's insane. I just have no patience for it. But I think that's a big part of it. I think like the current political climate and the way that we've been kind of trained to get so angry all the time and then get mad at each other and not mad at the actual roots of the problem, being combative with other people on the internet is just a normal thing. And I just don't want to play into that crap. Morning, Boxer Fencer. It's silly that it's controversial. It's say you had no issues with some Gibson guitars. I agree. I haven't any issues either. The Rick Beato SG is constantly sold out. Good for Gibson. I agree with you, Doug. Like, what the hell? And also, how can you get mad at that knowing that the money's going to a good place? It's not like Rick is pocketing that money. And even if he was, look at it from just a business perspective. It's still smart on Gibson. It's still smart on Gibson because they created a product that sells. That's business 101. When you bring a product to market, regardless of the intention, you want it to sell, or what's the point? They are out of reach for the regular musician. I disagree. I think that that's such a cop-out. You know, I know people that have multiple Indonesian and Chinese guitars. They'll happily just ship out between, $500 to $1,000 conservatively per each one of those, just so they could say they have one of each, so to speak. You could buy a used Gibson, a Les Paul if you like a Les Paul, or an SG. I don't like SGs, but same thing applies. Without all the fancy binding, without the gloss finishes and all that, but you're still getting the sound and the playability for well under $1,000 without blinking an eye for the same price you're paying for that Indonesian guitar. But no, you won't do it. You'd rather have 5 different guitars. And I'm not talking about you individually. I don't know what guitars you have. I'm just saying, this is a very common thing these days. Everyone just has to have more and more and more and more and more. And instead of perhaps not, or the other scenario is, instead of perhaps having those 5 or 10 mediocre guitars, just buy one good one. It's very much so in reach. When I was 14, I really wanted a Fender Stratocaster. My dad, he watches these streams. He's probably going to laugh because he'll remember this. I started working under the table in New York because you could do that back then. When I turned 15, I was able to get a proper job. I worked at Dunkin' Donuts. Now, I would work at Dunkin' Donuts before I went to school every day. I learned how to save some money, and I earned enough because I wanted it bad enough. And whereas other kids my age, and certainly kids today, no chance that the majority are going to put in that kind of work to get something they want. They want to hand it to them. I made it happen. And then I made the Music Man amp happen. Because I wanted it bad enough, and I worked hard enough for it. This out of reach nonsense. You know what's out of reach? $1 million house. That's out of reach for a lot of people. That's out of reach. A $2,000 or $3,000 guitar? No. I don't buy it. I simply don't buy it. Can you get the instant gratification as easily? Maybe not. But is it out of reach, like indefinitely? That's silly. That's silly, and you know it. It's silly. Oh, I read that one. Howdy, Mark. How you doing? Out of all the guitars I've ever bought new over the decades, only the Gibsons have been consistently great 90% of the time. Fenders, not so much, maybe 60. Greg, I think I'm in a really similar percentage to you. If I disclude, or if I rather don't include Fender Japan. If I don't include Fender Japan, then yeah, for sure. Between all the other FMIC brands, I'm definitely not batting much better than 500. But Fender Japan, I would say, just as good, if not a little bit better, than Gibson. But that's a high bar. I've only ever had one problem with the Fender Japan guitar, and it was the one that I just got. That's it, and it was just the vibrato collet had disconnected. That was the only time I've ever had a problem with Japanese Fender. Go figure. But yeah, I think it's overblown. I think it's silly. That's part of the problem. Many people don't think like business owners. If they ran a business as much as they complained, they would bankrupt it. Thank you. Well, I mean, and why is that? I mean, yeah, I run a business. But even before I ran a business, I mean, if you've ever worked at a job, you would understand how things work in order to turn a profit. Like just general common sense stuff. You understand markup. You understand marketing. And it doesn't matter if you're working at a donut shop, a cell phone store, a car dealership. You're going to see this even at the lower positions. It all starts to make sense how the companies make a profit. So this whole thing just seems so strange to me that it just seems like such a foreign concept to some people. That's all. Maybe I'm the crazy one. Or maybe we're just old. You ever think about that? Somebody thought I was like 15 in the video the other day. I got a laugh out of that. Fender losing Mayer is hysterically dumb. Worked out great for PRS. Well, I couldn't agree with you more on both sides. Daniel, how Fender screwed that up, I'll never understand it, because at the time, I don't think you could name a guitarist that was more known outside of guitar land. I'm talking about just to normal people that don't play guitar than John Mayer. He's literally the most popular guitarist at the modern times that's still active and relevant to younger people. And you just let him go for what? For what? For nothing. And you let him walk for free. It's like a free transfer in football. Like letting Prime Ronaldo walk away for free. What are you, stupid? Just from a financial perspective, he's just not very smart. And again, PRS. Always really good at business. Very savvy. They know how to make a buck. Agree. If you're patient, there are great used brand name guitars out there. Yeah, that's the whole thing, Rex, man. Like, it's this whole, like, I want what I want and I want it now. I want what I want and I want it now. That kind of like combined with the fact that you have all these ways of financing gear. And this is a good segue. Hold on. This is a perfect plug. You ready for this? This stream is sponsored by Z-Sounds. And one of the reasons I do like Z-Sounds, and I say this completely dead seriously, if you don't have the money for something all up front and you want it, there are traps online. Even the Sweetwater card has new terms to it as of June of last year. It's going to be almost a full year of that now. You used to be able to do 0% financing on that stuff for up to 48 months, right? Now, no matter what you buy, I think the minimum is at 2%. But then if you miss one payment, they could technically subject you. If you read the fine print, dude, the Synchrony contract is nasty. It's nasty. I encourage any of you to read the fine print on the Synchrony stuff. Again, but I'm a business person. I read that stuff because I like to know what I'm getting into. It's scary. If you miss one payment, technically, they could apply that extra charges for all payments going forward. It's arbitrary. It's up to them at that point. You don't want to deal with that. What I like about Zounds is you just do a year straight up. They don't run your credit. None of it goes against your credit. That's the end. Yeah, and if you're a deadbeat, they're after you, but that's very different because it's not going to balloon in the same way. And you're talking about a 1-year commitment at the most versus what, a few years? You get in a lot of trouble real quick. And places like Klarna, Affirm, they're all so predatory. Some people sign up for things because they can get it now. And, I feel bad. I feel bad for young people to an extent because they don't know that something like 36% interest is that's not good. That's not normal. That's not okay. But it lets them get a guitar now or an amp now, right? And then all of a sudden that guitar that even if you got a discount on it new, it cost you $2,000. Yeah, add in that 36% over the term. And how much did you really spend on it? I'll give you a hint. A whole hell of a lot more. For what? Just so you could have it now? It's not worth it, man. But they don't. Yeah, I'm not going to go there. Anyway. Most of my gear was bought used. That's good, Rummy. You always seem like a practical person. As a kid, I had a paper route. Yeah, saved for a Marshall JCM 800. I saved up later in life and bought a RO 1960 reissue. It looks and sounds like a dream. One of my best friends when I was growing up, his name is Jordan. I did that too. We would wake up. His family was it was him, two sisters, and the mom. They would do paper routes, and I would jump on those once in a while. And I remember being up so early, and it was like pitch black, and just throwing papers. I actually enjoyed that part of it. I really did. It was fun. Uh, I don't know. That wasn't like a complaining job. The only thing I didn't like about that was just, I would be tired because it's so early in the morning. And when I was working at Dunkin' Donuts, I got addicted to coffee very young because my way of waking up was, oh, I'll make myself a fresh cup of Joe and I'm off to the races. And then when, what was I in, like third period in school, I hit the wall and I'm done. And guess what? They don't serve kids in high school? Coffee. So it's not like I could double down. Had to just make it through the rest of the day. Oh, man. You worked for your dad under the table during summers to save up to buy guitars? Every summer, high school to college days, working to buy whatever caught my eye. Yeah, it's what's the best way to do it, man. Just gotta work hard. Gotta work hard. If you want, and if you really want something, if you really want something bad enough, and I'm not talking about a crazy dream like, would I like to play Red Rocks tomorrow? Hell yeah. Is that gonna happen? No, it's not gonna happen. But if you want something that, like I said, a $2,000 or $3,000 guitar is not forever out of reach, my guys. It is not, my guys and girls. It's not. You'll find a way to make it happen if it means that much to you. You just will. People who say Gibsons are overpriced need to understand that almost every major brand nowadays costs much more. I bought the last year ESP E2 Eclipse for €2,200, and now at home it's €2,800. Yeah, the prices just, they keep going up. They're never going to go down. You'll find rare occurrences where there's sales or like clearance things, and you can take great advantage of it. Like right now, there's Les Paul standards at Zounds that are like $2,000. A lot of them are the plain tops. So you'll have like the black, the cardinal red, like those sorts of guitars. Some of those are like $2,000, $2,100. So, I mean, some of that has to do with guitars being left over from other years, but yeah, in general, new guitar pricing is not just going to magically come back down again. Not on a normal scale. It's just not how it works. Do not finance music gear. Very good advice. In my shops, you have finance options for like 0.5%. 0.5% is much more acceptable depending on the penalties should you miss a payment and all the fine print, because it's more than just the initial percentage. It's all about like, because if you're financing gear, obviously you're not paying for it outright. And if you have an unexpected emergency, say your car breaks down, or say you end up in urgent care, and you're going to have to dedicate the money to that, and you're going to have to dedicate the rest to your regular living expenses, your rent, your food, your electricity, your internet, whatever. If you have to pick between those things that you actually need or paying for your guitar payment, guess which one you're going to pick? It ain't the guitar payment. And if the fine print in that guitar financing deal that looked so good on paper has some nefarious stuff in it, which I'm going to give you a hint again, it probably does. You've just increased the price of your cost of the guitar you just bought that you thought you got a great deal on because you were able to get it now. If you're going to do that, choose wisely who you get it from. Zounds are great because there's no crap like that. It's completely transparent. And that's just the God's honest truth. I can tell you to go buy from Sweetwater. I have affiliate links from there too. But the way Zounds works, it's just, to me, it's infinitely better for that. Synchrony is bad. Affirm is terrible. They're all terrible. They're all terrible. Synchrony has several card options, all just waiting to apply. Well, hold on. Let me read that again. Synchrony has several card options, all just waiting to apply all the possible interest if you're late or miss a payment. Know your fiscal ability and dangers. Thank you, Poo Ninja. That's what I've been harping on about, man. It's true, though. It really is. I'm a sucker for details. I read all that crap. I am that guy. Do you know how long I've been denying updating this stupid thing? You know how long I've been denying updating this stupid thing? Because I read the new agreement. And I was like, hell no. I want to go back to a Nokia flip phone. I really do. I'm not exaggerating. I want to go back to a flip phone. But I read that stuff, and the more you read it, just it's not good. Staggerly Goods, thank you for the $5 super chat. It's like a car. Never buy new. Hunt for a great guitar. Be smart about financing 0% APR. Buy used or B stock. Love the channel. Thank you very much, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, and that's the other thing I like about Sounds too. I mean, Sweetwater can do this too. I don't know if you can do the financing on the B stock or technically used stuff at Sweetwater, but I know you can do it at Sounds. I know you can do it there. So that's pretty cool. Jim, how are the music projects coming? Are you working on anything fun? We're moving toward a new album, and I shot a little 4-episode guitar series for YouTube. But it's a learning curve. Yeah, YouTube is a learning curve. There would be a lot I would do different if I started over. There would also be a lot of advice I would give to anybody that wanted to do this. I'll get back to your first part of the question, but I don't know. You have to really, really establish early what you want to do and stick to it. Because once you deviate a little bit, and if you have success in something that you're not like super passionate about, you're going to be tempted to keep doing it. And then eventually over the years, you're just, it's not fun anymore. It's not fun anymore. So just be careful. As far as individual music, yes, I have a lot of fun stuff going on. One thing has been super fun is it's going to sound so crazy. I haven't been using an amp for one project at all. I've been using, where are you, bud? Strictly this. I kid you not. Strictly this. I plug in my guitar right into this, going right into the interface. And then I'm just playing with knobs. And then when I'm done with that, what I'm doing is I'm using it as how you would with outboard gear after the fact. I use my two inputs and outputs as inputs and outputs. So send returns back into the Apollo. And then I just, in real time, have been doing interesting things that I've never done before prior to this when creating music. And it's a totally different approach to me. And it's not like my wheelhouse style of music, this one project. But man, I'm telling you, it's fun because it's refreshing. I'm learning. And it's making me come at things from a different perspective. And that's all you can ever ask for sometimes. I do have other traditional stuff, though, that's going well. So far, 4 in the bag as far as all the arrangements and guitar parts and that stuff goes. I gotta get back in drumming shape. And since the hernia, I'll be honest with you, I haven't drummed at all. I gotta work my way back into it. Like, because now I'm able to do stuff without pain. Like, I have a push mower. I'm not one of those people that has a ride John Deere. So I have to, finagle the whole property, which is good. I love it. I love being out in the sun. It's good exercise. But the positive of that is no pain. No pain. I would not have been able to say that 6 months ago. I wouldn't even thought of doing even part of the lawn. It just would have hurt too much. So I got to break into playing drums again so that I can get drums done in studio time with that. But yeah, no, things are going good. And it's a fun adventure and it's a new adventure. Message retracted. Boo. Can I see what it said? No, I can't see what it said. In high school, you worked as a credit card collections operator. Oh, man. That must have been a job. You know what though? That's probably why you grew up very fiscally smart then, or you ended up fiscally smart. I was amazed at how many people destroyed their credit with high interest cards. They should really teach better financial education. Well, that would not be in their best interest. Now, would they? Would they? Now, it's hard to not go into the topic I don't like talking about. But there is a very real connection between banks and people in charge. So it is in their interest. And just like with student loans, once the government got involved with those, in the 90s, you could go to college on a 4-year degree for like under $10,000. And then you didn't have the predatory interest rates, capitalizing on interest. And then all of a sudden, that loan you took out is 5 or 10 times as much as it was. You didn't used to have that. So people were debt free. Now it's every little temptation to get you into as much debt as possible. But worse yet, with the student loan thing, like you can't bankrupt your way out of that. You're just screwed. Have fun with that. So if you're in that position, I feel bad for you, man. I do. Anyway, also, if you have a local shop, talk, whatever, be friendly with the staff owners. Wait a little bit. After a while, stock builds up and they'll want to get rid of old stock. Great deals. Oh, I know. Yeah. I worked in a music store for a while. I saw how things used to go down with the old regulars when I was just eagle eyes, eagle ears. I pay attention to everything. And I saw the people that would get deals, and I saw the people that would not get deals. I saw what failed. Customers walking in and just like expecting discounts or starting off, like you'd be shocked at how blunt some people that have no rapport, that have no like record of going into the store, there's no relationship built, nothing. It's your first time in there. They walk in and they expect something, and the way they word it, it's like, oh, really? 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 Of course they don't get deals. Why would they? And as somebody like, there have been times I've canceled orders for guitars because the person was just very, 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 very rude after initially buying the guitar before I even shipped it. And without me even sending a single message. It's just like, whoa, are you serious? I'm like, the cool thing about operating my own business is I can pick and choose who I sell to. My friend, that guitar's not going to you now. Too bad. Oh, man. Yeah, if you want a Gibson Les Paul, get a used, clean studio. That doesn't scratch the itch, keep saving. I know, that's what it's all about, man. Jim, while I prefer amps, I am using 2 Notes Opus for bass, guitar, and overdubs. Have you tried it? Thoughts? I haven't used the Opus, but I have used Genome, and I assume they're pretty similar in sound. Genome is one of the only digital, like, period. I'm talking between pedals, plugins, anything digital related that I've heard that has a pretty usable spring reverb to it, like a vintage style spring reverb to it. That's the only one that's gotten remotely close. Is it still, quite a bit different than something like if I were to use the Princeton with the 2 Notes direct in? Yeah, for sure. But it's pretty good. It's pretty good. And I like some of the amp sounds too, especially the Marshall sounds. You got good crunch sounds. I'm not a big fan of the super high gain stuff, but the crunch sounds are really good. Credit card companies love college freshmen. Wahaha. Student loans are modern day indentures. Oh yeah, it's not good. It's not good, but they keep telling you gotta go. You'll never be able to make it in life if you don't go to college. Okay, so we hit everything I wanted to hit on with Gibson. Unless you have any final thoughts, I'd like to move on because we have some fun guitars to look at, and I just couldn't wait to hear your guys' opinion on these ones. Because as it happened, the day I posted the Gibson video, PRS released a bunch of guitars. Now, I have it queued. Ta-da! And what do you know? All right, so let's check out some of these and some of the prices. We'll talk about some things here. So what do you get? I haven't looked at all of them. Okay, so a bunch of colors. $2,600. Oh, they have the pictures of two of them. The one on the right looks better. Yeah, it's like a little bit darker of a purple. To me, it looks a little bit better. Backs are super different. Whoa, you see that? You see that color difference? That's wild. 6 pounds, 11 ounces, 6 pounds, 12 ounces. Okay, so you got the open gear. That's actually, I didn't know that. So you get the open gear tuners on the backs of those. That's cool. 5815 in a narrow field, and then another 5815 for the pickups. $2,600 for an S2 special semi-hollow. That's got a high gloss finish. And you get you have to get a gig bag with that, right? Yeah, a gig bag. And then the import vibrato, PRS vibrato. I know Fender screwed it all up for everybody, but you guys are supposed to be the perfectionists. You can go ahead and call it a vibrato because it's vibrato. It's not a tremolo. It's a very different effect. $26.99. All right. What do you guys think about that one? You guys like that? I'll show you some of the other colors. Fire red, lake blue, 7 pounds, 3 ounces. Faded gray black blue burst. I'm not laughing at the color. I'm laughing that it's just, that's a mouthful, man. Faded gray black blue burst. All right, cool. That's one of the American guitars. And then they were smart enough here. The non-semi-hollow version, we're not going to click on this, is $24.50. So it's $150 more. Oh, no, this is a different guitar. That's a Studio. My fault. The Studio, which is non-semi-hollow, and the difference between this one is this one has a narrow field in the neck and a narrow field in the bridge, whereas the special semi-hollow is going to have the humbucking 5815 in the neck and then the narrow field in the bridge. So HSH versus HSS for the special versus the Studio, and $150 price difference between them. Everything else is basically going to be fairly similar. The CE22s are $2,700. Not going to jump too much into those. Those have been out a little bit. These are the ones I was interested in seeing your guys' opinion on. So these are an Indonesian guitar. All right. $1,149. Yep, Cortec Indonesia. I just wanted to make sure because I know that some of them are China. What do you get? The import pickups. Do you get a case with this? You have to get a case. Yeah, you get a gig bag. Okay. Wide, thin. And then, yeah, obviously, it's an import guitar. You're getting all import electronics. That's $1,150. All right, let's keep scrolling. This one, to me, makes the most sense for their product line. Out of all the ones they released, granted, I don't like these colors. I'm just going to call a spade a spade. I don't like these colors. But this guitar made the most sense to me for them to release. Because it's a factory. Technically, it's an HSS, but the narrow fields are humbucking pickups. As you can tell, they kind of look like, Hot Rails. See what I mean? But this one makes a lot of sense. Does this have a good profile on it? Does it have a regular pattern regular? No, of course not. Wide thin. You guys are obsessed with your wide thins on these guitars. See, something like this with the pattern regular, that'd be much more appealing to somebody like me. But I think that's something cool that they added. And then they have the fancier version of it for $1,100. And again, what do we got? Yeah, we got Lake Blue, Tigers, Charcoal Cherry Burst. That's a hell of a veneer, man. It's a hell of a veneer. They picked a great stock image for that one. And $1,100. Oh, my keyboard died. Wake up. Now, are we really going to say that a $1,600 American-made guitar is expensive? Overpriced? Are we really going to say that? Is this the hill people want to die on after what we just saw? Really? That's all I have to say about that. So, now obviously I played a little bit of devil's advocate here. Before I read your comments, I have PRS. I got the CE2408, and I have the McCarty 594 double cut. The core 10 top, as a matter of fact. But man, the selective outrage. Those PRSs are so much more expensive. They're just more expensive. I don't know. Let's see what you guys say. Hey, Jimbo. Hey, Jason. How you doing, man? Fire Red looks good. I agree. I like the Fire Red. I do. What was the one with the orange tiger? Orange tiger stripe? Orange tiger burst? Whatever that one was. I thought that one looked really good. They're not all going to look like that. That's the thing about, veneers. They're all going to be a little bit different. But I thought it looked good. You'll take that PRS and return it for a Gibson. Greg, every time I post anything about PRS, you tell me that the thing sucks and that I should just buy another Gibson or a Telecaster. I'll tell you something. I already had the best Telecaster. For me. I ain't getting better than that. I don't need it. Now I got a Gibson. I'm happy with that. You now have a models. No, okay. Hey, Stan, how you doing? How's Greece going for you? Oh, no, you were just in vacation in Greece. Right. Where were you? Serbia? I feel like you're from Serbia. Yeah, either way. Hope you're doing well, Stan. Cyclic Life. I now have models from the SE, S2, CE, and Core lines. I think the best values from the S2 lineup, at least from the ones I've tried. The field difference from SE is pretty significant. I would agree with you 100 million %. And that's the thing that sucks about YouTube. Because you can watch a video and you can hear tones. And you could tone shape things. And you could always swap pickups on guitars to get things, to sound more similar to a higher end instrument, so to speak. But the play difference, the play experience, the play feel between the S2 and the SE's new. And this is not to knock the SE's, but it's not close. It's not. You pay for it, though. You pay for it. I think the best deal that you can get, the best value, if you really like PRS guitars, how I would do it, I would buy one of the S2s that are newer, that came with the American pickups, used. Find one on the floor price-wise. That's the best way you can do it. Because you can get one of those, like either a custom 24 with the 8515s, or you could get a McCarty 594 for like $1,200, not without too much effort. And if you like models that are a little bit different, like the standard 24s, ones that come with a pick guard, or the Vela, you get those for $1,000 or less, and those will have the American pickups in them now. That's to me where the value kicks in. So these new prices on some of these, man, I hate to break it to you. You buy one of those new CE24s for $2,700. If you ever decide you don't love that guitar anymore, you are lucky if it sells for half that. And what does that mean? Of course you're going to lose money. You're going to lose money unless you buy stuff that's out of production or very rare or limited. You're going to lose money. You should never buy guitars with the intent of making money back on them, but you're going to lose half. So even if that guitar doesn't sell for half, say it sells for $13.99 if you're lucky on Reverb. Okay, then you got to pay to ship the thing. Then you got to pay them their cut of over 8%. What do you walk with? 12 something? You like those guitars, buy them used. That's my take on the matter. I paid $1,500 for an SG Junior last week directly from Gibson. The studio for $1,600 is a good deal these days. Yeah, man. I've had really good experiences with the Gibson demo shop. People. The funny thing about that, going back to that video real quick, like somebody was calling me like a Gibson shill. I was just laughing. I'm like, dude. I'm like, I typically don't play Gibson guitars that often. I think most people that have like watched more than one video on this of what I've uploaded, they assume I'm playing an offset, and if it's not an offset, it's a Telecaster, because that's what I play. That's those are my meat and potatoes, so to speak. Doesn't mean I don't like other guitars though, but getting called a shill for a company that like I just don't really. I don't know. I'm not a gung ho Gibson guy. I like them a lot, but it just made me laugh. Because what are you supposed to say to that? All you can do is laugh. That's all you can do is laugh. He's like, oh, well, of course they set up your guitar perfect for you. You're a YouTuber. I'll tell you what, and I said this. I didn't say this in the video, but I said this in some of the comments. Some of those guitars, if you watch the videos, and you'll always see, if a video of mine is sponsored, you will see in the top, paid promotion. Some of those guitars that I said had major problems, yeah, those were sent to me as promotional guitars. So, just because you have a deal in place with either a brand directly or with a third-party vendor, that does not guarantee you're going to get anything good or that they're even going to freaking check it to make sure it's functioning. Food for thought. Proof is in the pudding. Go watch the videos. Lithium Man, thank you for the $10 super chat. You got an S2 Custom 24 and added 8515s. It's one of my go-tos along with the 67 Flying V reissue. That's one of the best ways to, and that's the other thing you could do if you wanted to. If you wanted to save even more money and you didn't care about the Gibson pickups. I mean, you went the way of the Gibson pickups, but if you didn't even want to go that way, right? The ones that don't come with the American pickups, so basically any S2 before 2024, those are really cheap. Those are well under $1,000, like not difficult to find and in good shape. And the meat and potatoes of those guitars are cool. And one of the other things I like about the older Custom 24s, I was just talking about neck profiles, and I was saying, no, wide, fat, pattern thin. Those older Custom 24s from the S2 line that had a pattern regular neck carve on them, which I prefer, they don't come with that anymore. So you could technically get a profile that's a little bit different. You buy it for way less. You swap in whatever pickups you want, and for just over $1,000, if you could do the work on your own, you got nothing. You're laughing. Or you can buy a new one for what? How much does a new S2 cost? Hold on. I think it's like $2,400 for a custom 24. Let's check real quick. PRS S2 custom 24. My internet is slow because I'm streaming. I'm not interested in the 2408. Looks like $2,249. You know what? That's not the normal price. That was the old price. But these will come with the right pickups. If you Zalens haven't updated that. Because if I go to no, I don't want to win anything. I'm not going to win anything. I almost just typed in S2 Sweetwater, custom 24. Yeah, $2,400. $2,299 for the regular one, or $2,400 for the other one. Actually, so it's $50 less. Whatever. Point stands. For half of that money, you could get like basically the same guitar and have whatever set of pickups you want in it. If you're smart and you buy used, which is very smart of me to say, considering that I'm trying to get people to support this place because they've been super cool to me, and obviously it helps when people use the affiliate links. I'm just calling a spade a spade. But for certain guitars, like these, just take such a hit. The PRS especially, these take such a hit. That, I mean, I got to be honest with you guys. Let's see what they have open box very good. 1879. Clearance. Oh, you got clearance items? All right, whatever. Let's get out of here. Cool. Oh, I opened the wrong window. Sorry about that. Let's take a sip. Woo! Boy. Jim, after watching your videos over the years, I have never seen your face light up like it does when you get a Gibson on here, except for the Fender Japan offsets. Never seen that face on a PRS. Oh, man. You know, when I do the unboxing videos, it's very hard to hide my excitement. There are times I can hype myself up if I'm going to film. You know, I've already played the guitar. I've unboxed it. I've set it up. I can do that. Because nobody wants to watch somebody who's just like, what's up? I got a guitar. Let's hear it. You know, you kind of got to play into it a little bit. But, yeah, there's something about playing Gibsons and playing Telecasters loud. That's my happy place, man. That's my happy place. And it's not all Gibsons. But the right Les Paul for me, that's a feeling that's tough to beat. I like it enough. Look at this guy hanging out in the back. He's just chilling. Thing weighs less than my Telecaster. It's got the big 50s neck on it. You couldn't make me happier. You really couldn't. I was sitting last night, and I was playing that a little bit. I was playing an offset a little bit. And then I was just like, you know what? I got to play the PRS. The blue one. And I sat with that. And while I agree, like for the rawness, and especially with dirt, man, it's not close. I like the Gibson way more. But I always have. But there's something about the PRS with this amp in particular for clean sounds and edge breakup sounds. It's so good on the neck pickup. It's so good. It like that's the thing that guitar does. Like it does a thing that I don't get out of the Les Paul. So it's just looking at things in different perspectives, and certain things that certain guitars do excite me less or more than others. You know, like the rhythm circuits are cool. I barely use them, but when I do, I'm like, this is awesome. It's just not a daily thing. Whereas the bridge pickup on a Les Paul, when I'm playing a Les Paul, that's where I want to be, like 90% of the time. See what I'm saying? Maybe you're onto something. Maybe you're onto something. I love Les Pauls and Fender Tellies because they're easy to personalize pickups. I don't know, what pickups do you think I should put in that Les Paul? Maybe I'll leave the neck pickup as it is, but the bridge pickup, I want something that's potted. That's going to sound really sacrilegious, but for that guitar, leave the neck pickup unpotted and put the bridge pickup potted so I can really throw a little bit more dirt at it before it starts screaming at me. You love your 2024 Cherry Special P90. Yeah. What are you going to do? These people this brand gets called overpriced. You get American made guitars for $1,600, $1,500. They sound great. They feel great. They're classics. There's always going to be a market for them. You don't have to worry about the finish fading to natural. I don't know, man. Different strokes for different folks. I just think it's all very overblown. For those who aren't familiar with PRS neck profiles, the pattern regular sort of feels like a 1960 reissue, and the pattern then feels more like a 60s slim taper. That's pretty close. That's pretty close. The pattern regulars don't get as thick as something like an R9. But they do have a more substantial feel to them. Like a noticeably more substantial feel than a pattern thin does. That's for sure. Or a wide thin, if you're talking about older neck curves. You got my Princeton from Zounds. Great price for an open box amp. Yup. And to the other question about the Coca-Colas? Yup. Yep. Your Les Paul Modern weighs 7.5 pounds. That only comes with the 60s neck, right? The slim taper. That's the guitar I think you might be able to get me to have fun with if you did the same thing with that one. If you give me the 50s. You give me the 50s note profile. Because that's the other thing. And you know what? That'll be the difference between whether or not I have a huge smile on my face when I'm playing a Gibson or not, too. I can't hide that. When I play a 60s note neck profile, I like it, but I don't love it. For me, a Les Paul has got to have the big neck on it as part of the experience. Because the guitar's like, it just sounds so big. And I want to play loud and just like, it really is a part of the experience having just that big 50s neck profile. I love it. I love it so much. That I think, you know what? If I were to be critical of Gibson, it would be in the fact that the cheapest guitar that you can get from them that's American made, that comes with the 50s neck profile now, I believe is the Les Paul Standard at $2,800 for the normal price. Because the Studio is the 60s. The Modern Light is the 60s for sure. The Modern is the 60s. The Studio Session is the 60s. They've gotten rid of the classics. Yeah, that leaves you the cheapest one you can get right now new that has a 50s neck profile is Les Paul Standard. So do my friends at Gibson, who I like very much. I don't have any animosity towards you. Make more options with the 50s neck profile. And for PRS, make more with the pattern regular. Or pattern vintage. Anything other than a freaking wide thin on everything. God. The middle position on a Les Paul can be amazing, but is often overlooked. No, that's one of my favorite sounds on a clean on a Prism. You quack with that almost. It's just, that's a balancing act. Once you get familiar, Rami, you know this, but once you get familiar with mixing and matching your tone knobs when you're in the middle position for each pickup individually, you can get some crazy good sounds. And split coils are convenient because it's a nice way to kind of instantly, it's just like massive tone shift. But for more like subtle sculpting, you mess with your volume and your tone controls with both pickups engaged on a Les Paul or a 335 or whatever have you that doesn't have coil splitting on it. And you could do so many cool things. And that's kind of like, if you don't remember exactly where you had the knobs, I've had this happen in the past where I recorded in the middle position of a standard wiring dual humbucker guitar that was using both pickups, and I for the life of me I can't remember exactly where I had everything set, but it was like the perfect sound. I tried to recreate it for like months after that at home, but obviously I wasn't able to do that because I didn't have a Royer in front of the mic with a 421. What was the room mic he used? I forget. Might have been a Neumann. But either way, just the blend of it and then just like the sound, because we really screwed with it to get the right sound that we wanted. And it was just so good. I couldn't recreate it. Whereas when you do split the coils, you flip it. If you don't touch anything, hooray, that's my sound. That's what I wanted. Oh, man. Seth Lovers are great in a Les Paul. Yeah, those are unpotted too. They sound good, though. Les Paul Modern is a slip taper. You love the 60s neck as a lead player. Well, that perfectly sums it up, man, because I'm a rhythm player. I never play lead in videos. It's not my thing. And I hate noodling. I hate there's nothing that's a bigger turnoff than just watching somebody just noodle on a gear. Just not a fan. Les Paul, you love with the standard 50s with the fatter neck. You do like the fatter neck. I agree with you. On a different note, oh my God. What did you buy now? You traded 2 weeks ago. You got a 70th anniversary AV2 1954 Stratocaster. Kudos to Fender. Has the strattiest of Strat pickups I've ever had. You should try some Lawler black faces. Well, actually, they don't call them that anymore. They call them the Lawler 64s. That's what I have in my JV Strat. I have the 64s in the neck and the bridge, or the neck in the middle, and then a Lawler Special in the bridge, and that is like the Strat sound for what I like. I love it to die for. But yeah, I mean, I would expect Fender to do a good job at making Fender pickups. I'd hope they could do that well. That makes me happy. All right, Evan, this will be a good segue here, okay? So right now, you guys can't all see it. Evan can see it. If you have not voted, Evan, and other members of the channel, we actually have our gear demo vote for June up. I posted it already. So I'll tell you guys what the options are. The people that can vote on this are people that are either patrons or people that are actual channel members. Just so you're not like, oh, what the hell is you not being fair? At least I don't make the streams members only. I could do that. People do that. The options for this month that were pitched not by me, the final four, the Yamaha Pacifica Pro. Never done a Yamaha guitar on this channel. I really like that idea. Especially the Japanese one. The Gibson Platypus is also nominated. That's pretty cool. We're just talking about Gibsons with big necks. Gibson Les Paul Standard 50s with P90s was nominated. And the last guitar that was nominated, and part of the reason why I'm very happy that this vote was not public, I'm just going to be honest with you, the Fender Player 2 Jaguar. Now, I'm a Fender guy. I'm an offset guy. Hell, I think the thumbnail of this stream, if I remember correctly, I made it pretty late last night, was of a Fender Jaguar outside of my old house. One of my old houses in San Diego, California. I don't have much interest in demoing the Player 2. But one of the benefits of this for people is I didn't pick any of that stuff. That was all stuff that they wanted to see. If this was open to everybody, the Jag would win. So right now, I'm quite happy that it's not. Because I'd be happy demoing the other ones. Nothing against the Player 2 Jag, but look at the Jag I have. What are you, nuts? What am I going to say? You voted. Rafa, you vote too. Go vote. Go click on the community tab. You can do it. Go. Please. Help your buddy Jim. I like the Yamaha. Oh, man. No noodling rhythm players all the way, man. Thanks, Stan. I mean, sometimes I noodle rhythm parts out, but the thing about if you noodle rhythm parts out and you do it cleverly, it'll just sound like a song. It doesn't sound like you're just wanking away at a pentatonic scale, so it sounds more musical. I'm still noodling. It's just not the same sort of noodling. It's not as offensive. Okay, all right, you voted. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I'm happy you guys did that. What does channel member mean? How does one do that? What benefits? Click the link in the description. The best one is honestly the Patreon, because then you get everything without any ads, period. And you get everything like literally as soon as it gets posted. But yeah, there's a full description on it. I won't do a sales pitch on this. If you actually want like more, if you want like a full thing about it, send me an email. But all the information is outlined on that site. So if you click the link in the bio of this video, the description rather, click on the Patreon, and there will be a whole thing that goes over all of it. So, yeah. I think it starts like $5 a month or $4 a month, something like that. 4 or 5. So, it is what it is. If you want to support, cool. If you don't want to support, we're still here now, aren't we? That's what it is. You never noodle. Good leads should be melodic or have hooks built to a climatic pitch. I agree with you, man. That's just how I approach the instrument. That's why, like, for example, like, the way I look at rhythm guitar and why, like, because if you watch, like, a really good jazz player, just like a really good technical player, like, you watch Julian Lang, you're just mesmerized by like the technicality of it, and it's very good. It's very, very good. But you don't need to do that to create something that people are going to remember or that stands out. You don't need to play fancy chords to do that. The trick to me has always been like, since I don't play lead guitar, and since a lot of the time in the past, I've worked with people that like to have melodies kind of like pre-established for them as far as the singing lines go. When I'm writing a rhythm part or I'm noodling a rhythm part, yeah, obviously I'm going to select the chords, but I'm also, while I'm doing it, I'm constantly thinking about the part having a melody built in behind it. For example, the advertisement that I did with Fender, that Fender are using on social media right now, that's all it is. Like, yeah, you hear like the Corey Wong stuff happening, but if you really pay attention, you can hear like a vocal line behind it. And that's just my style, I think. None of the chords are too complicated. I think I play just diminished flat fifth. I think is the most technical that gets. Nothing too crazy, you know. But it's all about using every string with intention, with intent to try and build something creative out of it. You can use basic seventh chords, throw in a ninth here and there, diminished. Augmented chords are really fun too. If you could place those well, those are awesome. But you don't need to know every voicing of every single chord. You just have to know the fretboard in general and just have a decent ear and just work things out. You can create a lot of cool stuff with just the basics. Rhythm noodling makes for a healthy meal. Solo noodles are junk food. That's a really good way of looking at it. Jim, didn't spend any money, just took a few cheaper guitars that I bought half price. Got more in trade than you paid and got a great guitar. We are full circle to the beginning of the discussion. Well, and then that's how it should be now, isn't it? I'd rather it be that way. I'd rather just have less as a whole and love everything I have and have it be really high quality. Like, I don't need 56 different models of everything. It's cool to have the diversity in the guitars. Like when I pick up a Jag, I play that for a while and I pick up a Les Paul. Hell, if I pick up a Jag and then I switch to a Strat, everything completely changes with how I play and how I approach it. It's nice to have those sorts of options available. There's no denying it can impact your playing. But like you get to a point where I don't know, like I'm really happy. Like there's not a guitar I look at and I'm like, I could see like a real need for that. Like, oh, I'm gassing so hard for this now. No. No, the Les Paul. The only thing I didn't have was something that did the Les Paul bridge pickup. That's it. I'm good. I'm good. Sold off to Sir. I still got to sell off the Sir parts caster. If you guys are interested in that, go check out the website. Or if you're really interested, send me an email. Maybe we could work something out on that. That's got the American Vintage 2 body on it, the Sir pickups, and the compound radius Warmoth neck. Rummy, you might actually like that because that's got a little bit of a thinner neck profile. The stainless steel frets. Plays like a freaking monster, dude. Plays like a freaking monster. Oh, man. You've covered all your bases, too. Yeah, that's all you need. And not everybody needs to cover every single base. Like, there's some guitar pickups that I don't have right now. And people could be like, well, you're not finished. You don't have a guitar with gold foils in it. You don't have a guitar with a Bigsby on it. You don't have a guitar with P90s. That's probably the most glaring one if we're just going to call a spade a spade. But I got a Telecaster. I'll be fine. It's just knowing like what you're actually going to use. And once you have good quality of it and you don't need anything else. I don't know. Put the money towards an amp. You have money to burn, put the money towards a good amp. Lads, any experience with the classic player made in Mexico Jags? One came up in the area considering buying it. I have experience with a few of those. And I have a lot of experience with different placement of the vibrato. I would rather have a classic player Jaguar than one of the newer player 2s. Again, I'm bad for business. I'm supposed to tell you to buy new stuff. Like the newer is better. Newer is better. Use the product link down below to buy the newer, better product. It'd just be a lie, though. I'd rather have one of the classic player Jags over one of the newer ones. In that price range. 100%. 100%. They got a cool neck profile on them. you could set them up with fairly low action. The vibrato stays in tune pretty well. It's a little bit of a different feel to it because of it won't seem like a huge difference. The placement, the modern placement of the vibrato versus, vintage placement. But I'm so used to the vintage one that like I notice it immediately, both in like where my hand goes and then even just like the tension of the strings. It just feels a little bit different. Sounds a little, but I like them a lot. If you can get one for a great deal, play it first before you commit to it. See if you like it. That's the best way to do it. Can we start a poll based upon the time frame elapsed before the new Les Paul hits your website for sale? Do you want to know the truth about why I sell Gibsons? I'll tell you the God's honest truth of why I sell Gibsons. Out of all the guitars, doesn't matter if it's the 77, which will never go for sale. I can't rebuy that guitar. Fender Custom Shop, PRS Core, PRS whatever, Production Fender. Anytime I, for one reason or another, need to come up with money, or I just want to invest money in something else, or the family wants to build this, or the family wants to go here, or whatever it is. The guitars that sell the fastest for the most amount are always the Gibsons. If it was up to me, I would have never freaking sold that R9. That was a tough spot. I knew I was about to have surgery. And it was Christmas. Oh, that I'm gonna get mad thinking about this. But no, I was not happy to sell that guitar. I did not want to get rid of that guitar. Not at all. But life is very expensive sometimes, especially when it comes to medical stuff. And I don't have the greatest record with medical stuff, just being honest. So, when I sell the Gibsons, it's not, I've never sold a Gibson from this YouTube channel that I didn't really like. I've sold Gibsons I liked more than other guitars I've kept several times. Several times. Yeah, now I'm bummed out. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. All right. You'll always lust for a great guitar your whole life. The cheaper ones are only a few days or months. Yeah, that's what it is. Don't worry about it. Thank you. Go check it out. See you dig it. Yeah, have fun. They hold their value better than any other brand. Yep, it's just the God's honest truth. Gibsons are gold. Gibsons are gold, man. They hold their value the best. Thank you, Rex. Thank you, Crollo. Appreciate that. I'll tell you what, you guys. I've hit everything I wanted to hit on today. My kid has a match tonight. Football match. And if you've ever watched 8-year-olds play football, let me tell you something. It's a shit show. None of them understand the concept of just finding space for themselves and then running away from the ball so that you can actually make an attack. No, they all run like chickens with their heads cut off. And it doesn't matter how much you practice beforehand. When it's actual game time, the ball hits the ground, they all just swarm at it. God bless them. But hopefully today will be a little bit different. We practiced a lot over the last week. I gotta get ready. I'm gonna upload, or import rather. I already have the playing section done for tomorrow's video, which is all about the one amplifier, the Mesa Boogie. And I came at it from a perspective of not just like gear demo, because a buddy of mine who follows this channel, Sublime, he said it's just like, with everyone going minimalist and being like cheap, it's just like, why not make a video where it's just like focus on one really good amp? Because I'm always talking about like one really good guitar. And I was just like, that's a good point. And so I only used one guitar for the demo. But I wanted to show just with that one guitar and just screwing with the controls on that amp and all different stuff it can do, like maybe that's the spot you should consider putting your money instead of just another new instrument to play through a modeler. Not that I think that's wrong, but the experience ain't the same. Nothing beats a good tube amp. So that'll be tomorrow's video. And I got to start doing that now. Otherwise, it's just going to be too much work, and it will get delayed until Saturday. And I made a schedule. I said it'll be done tomorrow, so it will be posted tomorrow, one way or the other. Questions, comments, or concerns, feel free, leave them below. If you watch this stream after the fact, I appreciate your time. If you watch this in real time, I appreciate you even more. But that's it for today. I love you guys. I'll see you on the next one. Thanks again for sponsoring this video, 2 Sounds, and for all your super chats. Take it easy, guys.